Hey guys, so here's how to spend your money if you want to make more. Let's get into it. So the whole premise of this video was based on a paradigm shift I had back in around March this year. And basically I realized that a lot of my spending habits and my views around money was not really serving me anymore. Because the thing is, when you're coming up, it does help a little bit to be frugal. It helps to be aware of where your expenses are, things along those lines, right? But once you cross a certain point, doesn't really matter, because you can save your way to 100,000 liquid very easily like this in less than a year, right? You can even save your way to a mil, right? Even 10 mil sometimes if you're really good about it, right? But you cannot save your way to 100 million. There's just, if you're from a working class family, there's no way you can save yourself to 100 million, right? You have to focus on leveling up your income through some means, one means or another, right? So that's kind of the thing that I really understood, because when you acquire knowledge and information, there's a difference between just knowing it versus understanding. And this was something I really understood back in March or February time when I went to Dubai. Can't really remember. But basically, yeah, long story short, I just realized, a lot of my spending habits were holding me back. So this video is going to go over some of the changes and some of the rules that I've had for myself since, and it's proved to serve me because I've been able to travel more, and also, over the past 4 months since then, I've actually made quite a bit more money as a result. So let's dive into it. Number one, if you have less than 100,000 liquid in your bank, just don't bother investing, right? Because the thing is, investing at market returns, which is around 10% a year, that alone is not going to get you to 100 million unless you're contributing, multiple 5 figures into your portfolio every single month, right? And there's no way you can actually achieve that unless you level up your income. So when you're broke, focus on making more money. And this guide and this video is going to show you exactly how to spend your money if you want to make more. Let's get into it. So the thing is, when you have less than 100,000, the last thing you need is money, because you're already broke. What you actually need is skills, you need knowledge, you need opportunities, you need relationships, and you need time and headspace. So with your little pot of money, right, do not be scarce about it. I was super, I started wanting to invest consistently and things along those lines back in 2021 when I maybe just barely had 100,000 in my bank, right? And the point is, I missed out on but a few life experiences that I should have probably just traded that money for, or been more aggressive in reinvesting into my own education, team members, trialing consultants and things along those lines, right? But I didn't, because I was scarce about it. Now, of course, please don't just click off this video and go blow everything on lavish experiences and Rolexes and stuff, right? I'm going to show you exactly what you actually need to spend your money on to acquire skills, relationships, opportunities, time, and headspace. So let's dive into it. You got to think about this probabilistically, right? If you put $5,000 in, let's say, into a crypto shitcoin, even if it 20x's, you only have 100,000, right? However, if you invest it into your own knowledge, it's very easy and it's very probable that if you put in 5,000, it's going to give you the skill sets necessary in order to make over 100K, right? And obviously the latter is going to be more valuable because you can repeat that process consistently over and over again, right? So that's basically why I'm a really strong believer that if you have less than 10,000 even, you should exclusively be investing in your skills, knowledge, and basically anything to kind of improve you as an individual, right? So let's talk about how to actually spend your money to acquire more money, which means, spending money to acquire knowledge, skills, relationships, opportunities, time, and headspace. Let's dive into it. So when it comes to skills and knowledge, right, very easy. You can buy courses, you can join masterminds, you can join coaching groups, right? Acquire coaches, get coaching, professional coaching help, right? Books. And also you can take out people who are ahead of you. So, taking them out to dinners, lunches, whatever, right? Making connections with those people, becoming friends with those people. Shout out to my guy Paula, by the way. My friend Paula, he's actually very good at networking, and he's very good at taking out people who he wants to learn from. I actually, learned a bunch of shit from him just without him knowing even. But yeah, shout out to my friend Paula. Anyways, the thing that's actually going to hold you back and prevent you from acquiring skills and knowledge is actually the mindset of thinking everything is a scam, right? For a very brief period of last year, I got very jaded at the guru space, and I just started thinking, everything in terms of the online info product space was a scam, because I realized everybody that I thought was doing specific numbers, they were completely fabricated, and yeah, it was basically all a lie. However, since then, I've kind of realized like the only thing that's propelled me to where I am at today is courses, coaches, free shit on YouTube, right? So why would I get jaded at the thing that actually benefited me? Because at the end of the day, even if they are lying about the numbers, the outcome I was able to achieve as a result is basically drastically changing my life. So why the fuck would I complain, right? So you really need to get yourself out of the mindset of thinking everything is a scam, because even if you bought a course that's not worth it and it was a total ripoff, right? Don't let your past lapses of judgment allow it to alter like your future decision making when it comes to investing in yourself. That is a really, really big mistake I see a lot of beginners make. It's because they just buy one course. They realize, oh, it only teaches one specific thing when, the promise was teaching you everything. And then they kind of just give up on the entire journey. It's not like that. Most of the courses, coaches that I've worked with have been a total waste of time and money. But of the ones that were very, very good, they've, helped me secure a 500x ROI, for example. I pulled that number out of my ass. But anyways, the second thing you got to understand is, yes, you can learn everything for free. However, it just doesn't, it's a bit too slow, right? So for example, recently I hired a swim coach who swims internationally and competes at a national level. And I also hired a chess coach, right? Just because I wanted to learn chess and I don't know how to fucking swim, right? So I wanted to acquire those skills, and I'm willing to pay someone who's way ahead of me just to coach me professionally, because they actually do the shit themselves, right? So always be willing to invest in skills and knowledge, even when you don't really have the money, right? That is the number one thing you need in order to upgrade your value to the marketplace. The last mindset when it comes to networking and things along those lines, which kind of relates to treating people who know more than you, right, is thinking that, oh, because this person has more money, they should treat me, right? Don't think like that, because man, I've been out with friends at times and they've made like shitty little comments like, oh, but Boyan can get the bill because he has money or whatever. I'm like, dude, what the fuck, right? But anyways, that is just like a very tiny annoyance thing. But if you think when you're out with someone who's ahead of you that they should be picking up the tab, bro, you're deluded. Like every time that I go out with anyone who's even a little bit ahead of me, even when they're behind me, to be honest, nowadays I just like to pick up the tab all the time, because you don't know where the ROI is going to lead, right? Because when you measure relationships from an ROI standpoint, the reason why people are not afraid to burn bridges is because they're very short-term minded, right? Because when you measure ROI of a true relationship, you need to measure it over the entire span of your lifetime, right? And you don't know who's going to come back into your life and where your paths are going to kind of merge over 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? So it never works in your favor to burn any bridges ever, right? So when you're out with people who are more ahead of you, always offer to pick up the tab. And even when you're out with people who are not necessarily at the same level, it's still always nice to treat people, right? Always think about like where you can build that relationship further. Which brings me on to the next thing, buying relationships and opportunities, right? That sounds very superficial. When I say buy relationships, I don't mean literally, getting a bunch of superficial friends that only care for you because you have money or whatever, right? What I mean by buying relationships and opportunities, I mean buying yourself a seat at the table, right? So what that might involve is you going to, let's say, expensive gyms, right? Paying for really expensive gym memberships that is kind of exclusive, right? Because you position yourself in areas of the world where you're more likely to meet successful people, right? That's how you buy relationships, because it increases a probability of you meeting someone that you can genuinely learn something. Buying coaches and consultants, right? So working with people who are ahead of you, you can pay for their time to build that relationship. I've actually have, like, a lot of my friends I've actually paid money to spend time with in the beginning, just because I thought this person was someone that I wanted to know. So I would just, pay them to make the introduction in the beginning. So either work with them on a coaching basis or something along those lines, right? And then during the relationship, during the coaching sessions, we would establish really great rapport, and I would just become friends with these people, right? So I knew that by me buying into their programs, by me buying into their whatever, I would be able to build a relationship with that person. So in turn, I've actually bought the relationship, right? Or bought the opportunity to have the relationship with that person. And it's not fake, because, they could choose not to spend time with me after the time that we kind of like that I paid for, right? But they still do, just because, that's where the relationship is, right? So the other thing that you can buy to increase the likelihood of building good relationships and opportunities is travel, right? So this is awesome because you get to go to other places of the world with people that you meet online or whatever, and just, collaborate of some sort or share ideas. And the thing is, I know we live in an age where Zoom meetings and things along those lines are really common, but nothing beats like, a in-person connection and you guys going out, grabbing dinner, around, getting food, something along those lines, right? So I always try to spend money on travel to meet new people and kind of like for like collaboration purposes or whatever. Next thing is picking up the tab. So going back to what I said earlier about acquiring skills and knowledge, treating other people, right? When you pick up the tab, it's always gonna leave a good taste, in someone's mouth. Actually, that sounds kind of wrong, but it's always gonna like leave a good taste in their mouth in terms of when they think of you, they will always think of positive things, not necessarily just because you picked up the tab, but like what I'm really saying is like picking up the tab will never add a sour taste to someone's mouth when they think about you, right? So for example, it might not be the exclusive thing that makes people like you, but if you pick up the tab, they're not gonna fault you for it, right? Whereas it might be of a detriment if you are like, oh, let's split it exactly based on, what we ate and things along those lines, right? So just be generous. Picking up the tab will increase the likelihood of you having good relationships and in turn, opportunities, right? Because when you pick up the tab and pay for other people and things along those lines, you almost attract opportunity because of the law of reciprocation, right? People want to reciprocate kindness to you. So even if you paid for dinner for like 10 people and 8 of those people did not reciprocate in whatsoever, the 2 that do will probably make you like way more money and provide a much higher ROI than the total cost of the entire dinner, right? So I always try to pick up the tab where possible. And lastly, it's living in nice areas, nice apartments, things along those lines, right? Safe areas with affluent neighborhoods. Reason being is because when you say hi to people in the morning or when you meet people in the building gyms and things along those lines, right, they're more likely to be people of high value, right? Because they're able to afford to live in the same area as you, right? So that in turn would create better relationships that is more productive for your life and your business, right? And probably brings up opportunities if you're lucky, right? So everything that you do from a relationships and opportunity standpoint is designed to best position yourself for opportunities to kind of like come your way, for good relationships to come your way, things along those lines, right? The worst thing you guys can do here is say things like, oh, it's out of my budget, basically a load of bullcrap, right? Like, because at the end of the day, if you can afford it, just go for it, because what do you have to lose, right? You're 20 something, no kids, no wife, no nothing. Even if you go broke, worst case, you live with your parents, right? So another thing is, saying things like, oh, I'd rather live in a shitty neighborhood to save money, right? I used to be of this mentality as well until I realized, in crappy neighborhoods, a ton of other problems occur, not just safety, right? The water pressure might not be very good, so like you struggle with taking proper showers, and then in turn you have to think about all of this bullcrap. The house might break and there's not proper maintenance teams in place. It might be really far from like a gym or something. So for example, in the building I live in, I just need to go downstairs. There's a pool, there's a tennis court, basketball court, gym, sauna, everything that I need, right? it saves me so much time compared to where I used to live, where I had to walk, 10, 15 minutes to the gym just to go there. Right now, I can train twice a day and it doesn't consume any extra of my time. That's like one of the other things that buys you time and headspace back, right? And then it's kind of like the whole concept of, let's only pay for what we eat. I'm just not really a fan of this anymore. I'm not 15 anymore, right? Like, if you genuinely don't have the capabilities of paying, right, just don't go to those nice places. But if you do, and if you are going to people who you're trying to impress, right, don't do that shit, So next one, time and headspace. So time and headspace is really, really important, right? If you guys watched anything, the video prior or the next video, which is going to be about how to allocate your time, you'll understand the importance of eliminating menial tasks in your life, right? Menial tasks like cleaning, meal prep, groceries, right? Shit along the lines that you don't really need to do for yourself because it's very low ROI. And the thing is, it's not just the one task in and of itself, it's actually the headspace it takes up, right? So if you can throw money at these things to make them go away, you always should. So one of the biggest things I actually used to do was like, I used to take a lot of public transport, right? Or I used to walk everywhere and things along those lines. Now I always opt to take Ubers and taxis where possible, because it saves headspace, right? For example, to get from point A to point B, you'd have to look on Google Maps. Then you have to think, oh, which station do I need to go to? And then from that station, which station do I then need to go to? And then from that station, which station do I need to go to? And then from there, where can I walk to, right? It's a bunch of micro decisions that you really should be eliminating from your day-to-day life, right? So, always invest in Ubers and taxis because, it frees up headspace, it frees up your time. Laundry, going places close to home, that's like a really low-hanging fruit. Like laundry, I get taken care of for less than £20 a week. It comes back to me in less than 24 hours, folded, no lint, no nothing. I could just slap it in a drawer and I'm done, right? Save your headspace and save your time. So the best things, going back to it, right? Like, skills and knowledge, you can buy courses, masterminds, coaches, books, anything along those lines. Relationships and opportunities. The best relationships that I've personally built is, I literally just paid someone for their time to make them, set some time aside for me so that they actually realize, oh, Boyan's a cool person. I want to be friends with this guy also. And then we made the connection that way. It's so simple. It's like, if I can pay someone to, spend pay someone $1,000 to spend like 3 hours with me, and their market value for their time is probably like $2,000 an hour, of course I would do that, right? Why not? And then during those 2 hours, it's kind of like rapport building, right? So yeah, that's that. Time and headspace, really, really important again. And then lastly, results, right? So the result, if you were to spend your time on all of these things, would be more knowledge, right? Because you buy information, you buy higher quality information, and you're able to consume that information in a smaller time frame. Because, for example, if you go to university, you'd have to read an entire textbook. Whereas if you buy someone's summary, they would give you all of the concise points, so that you can consume the same amount of information, but just at a much quicker pace, right? Which results in higher levels of skills. Now, you also have more times because you don't need to do menial tasks in your life, right? And as a result, you have more opportunities and time to hang out with people and build better relationships. So you can see, if you spend your time on these things as opposed to flashy cars or like nice clothes or whatever, it's actually a cyclical effect, right? Because, having more free time feeds into your ability to build better relationships. Your ability to build better relationships feeds into more knowledge and skill because you're able to learn from people who you previously didn't have access to. And this is why, like, once you surpass, like the 5 to 10K a month stage, you can actually really, really accelerate your progress upwards, right? So if you spend your time on these things and not on things that are more liabilities, right? The result is you will make more money. There's just no way that you will not get more money if you choose to spend your time on these things. So see you guys next one.